All right, good afternoon or almost afternoon, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for joining us today for Tool Time Tuesday. We're going to give another minute or so for people to join us, and we will get started right at noon. So if you are joining us and you'd like to let us know where you're calling from in the state, that is always great for us to know where you are located. So please put that in the chat if you'd like to. Great to see how far across the state we go with our tool times. Hendersonville, welcome. Oh, Tennessee. Kind of all over near the mountains. Moore County near Pinehurst, welcome. All right, well, I'm sure people will be joining us along the way, but I do want to get started to make sure we have enough time today. Welcome, everybody, to Tool Time Tuesday. I'm Andrea Young, ECAC Communications Lead. Today, I am joined by Dr. Kelley with the UP program at Western Carolina University. She's the co-founder and director and professor of special education and inclusive learning there. And she'll be giving us an overview of what is inclusive post-secondary education and how it can benefit young adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So we are very excited to learn more from Dr. Kelley, and welcome. I'm going to pass it right over to you.
All right, so thank you guys so much for having me. Hopefully you can hear. I'm going to share my screen and try to get my closed caption off. There we go. So just wanted to talk a little bit today. As she said, my name is Dr. Kelley. I work at Western Carolina and I'm part of the UP program. I direct the program. We co-founded the program in 2007. And so I'm not going to give you a full overview of the program, although I'll give you quite a few details because I want to take you to the national picture first and then go into more of the specifics in our state of North Carolina, although I know we have some Tennessee folks, so we'll do our best to kind of look at the national snapshot as well. And then we'll go into some specifics for admission criteria and different things that many colleges are looking for as people are interested in applying for these programs. So post-secondary education is very important for a lot of reasons. A lot of people say college is not possible. I've heard that a lot over my days. College is possible. So when we're finding that we're maintaining and raising our expectations, we're providing those same opportunities, that becomes more transformed outcomes than we could ever imagine. And so I think it's really important to think about that as you're exploring college possibilities. All the programs out there, especially for students with intellectual disability, a lot of times we're looking at a lot of different models, a lot of different services, and the best thing I can say is find the one that best fits you. So there's lots of models, lots of services, lots of differences in a lot of our programs, which is a good thing because it gives you more opportunity to shop around and figure out what works best for you. So we are located in Kelley, North Carolina. And so I'll go into the nosedive of that in just a little bit. You can see the beautiful mountains behind me. That's kind of our university. And so you can see a lot of the dorms. Our students live on campus. But I want to kind of give you the national kind of picture first. When we're looking for programs specifically for students with intellectual disability, we have about 359 programs according to our Think College database. So the database that we have for the national picture of these programs, you can see in your state, if you're not specifically from North Carolina, Tennessee has, 9 programs. And so if you're looking at a specific state here, you can see the number on the map represents how many programs are in your state. If you scan that QR code, it's going to actually take you to thinkcollege.net to the College Search database. The College Search database allows you to sort by your state, if it offers residential or not. So there's about 138 programs out of the 359 that are residential. So that means students can live on the college campus or nearby in apartments. So they do offer the housing piece. You also will notice you can filter through that college database and see who accepts financial aid or federal aid at this point in time, as well as some that offer dual enrollment. So maybe you're in high school or your son or daughter's in high school and you want to see if they could be dually enrolled, kind of like an early college concept. So that's there. You'll also be able to filter if they're funded as a transition program for students with intellectual disability, as well as a comprehensive transition post-secondary program. So I'm using all these acronyms, but I'm going to tell you that TIPSID, Transition Programs for Students with Intellectual Disability, means that they have federal funding at the moment and through September 30th to be able to have program operations. Then if they're a CTP, so a comprehensive transition post-secondary program, there are certain programs that are accepted for federal financial aid. So students can be eligible if you fill out the FAFSA, which is the federal assistance package. If you fill that out and then they're an approved CTP, then our students can receive Pell Grant and work study federal funds, just like everybody else going to college. So important to know if they're an approved CTP, it takes a little while to get that. If they're not a TIPSID, that's usually okay because that means they're getting funding and they're figuring out how to do program operations with or without that grant funding. So there's lots of ways you can sort through that. You can sort by specific disability as well. So again, take some time to explore thinkcollege.net and the College Search database there. You'll see in North Carolina, we have 25 programs, Western being one of those, but a lot of those are also community colleges as well. So if we look specifically in North Carolina at the makeup of that number of 25 on the national map, we find that there are 7 inclusive post-secondary ed programs at 4-year institutions. We also have some community colleges called Access to Achievement. There are 15 community and technical colleges that just started or they've been around, but they're expanding some based on some statewide funding that was just received. We also have 3 comprehensive transition post-secondary ed programs, with Western being one of those, the UP program, Appalachian State being the other one, the SDAP program, Scholars with Diverse Abilities, and UNC Greensboro, their Integrative Community Studies program. So all 3 of these are within the UNC system. One thing that kind of sets Western a little bit apart from the other 2, we're all a CTP, but we also have something called NC Promise. So we're one of the NC Promise schools, meaning that our tuition is $500 cap for in-state students, and it's $2,500 for out-of-state. And so when you compare our cost analysis to others, you'll find that Western can be cheaper sometimes, even out-of-state, than some other programs you look at. So look at the college cost comparisons. We have a resource if you want that. But there's really good college comparisons as you're shopping around because unfortunately, college is not free for anyone. That's part of the college experience. So it does cost money to go to any of these programs. Again, there are evolving community college options that weren't there before last year. And so it's really neat to see that we can partner with some of our community colleges. Maybe your son or daughter needs to kind of experience the academic side first before they jump head first into living on a college campus and doing it all at once. And so our community college partners are a big resource for us as well. We also have other North Carolina inclusive post-secondary ed programs. We have Hills Up, which is located at UNC Chapel Hill. They have a summer program as well as just starting their academic program this year. I know they were on Tool Time last week, so hopefully you learned a lot about the UNC Chapel Hill program. Interestingly, they have part of our name there, so they're trying to implement a lot of what we're doing with the UP program. Elevate is also at NC State, so they have about 7 students right now. They're all commuter students, but they're hoping to expand that in the fall. Some of these programs I know more about than others. So the Inclusive Futures program is at University of Wilmington, and it is just starting its program. They have received their first round of applicants. Julia's Learning is at Wingate University. They are not part of the UNC system, but they are doing some great things there at Wingate. We've met with them as well. We have North Carolina Central University coming along the next year, and then Winston-Salem State University as a historically Black college and university that will be funded by the North Carolina Council on Developmental Disabilities to start their program soon. So those are some other options if we take a nosedive into North Carolina specifically with some of the programs. Now, with all of them being new, they're also not approved as a college or a comprehensive transition program yet, so a CTP. So it'll take them a little while to get that. So they're not going to be able to offer the federal aid that our 3 existing programs offer at this point. So those are the other options in North Carolina. I do want to take a moment to kind of give you a little more of a nosedive into our program specifically, because I can talk about other programs, but please feel free to contact them. We want to make sure that you know that there are options out there as you shop around. And in North Carolina, that has grown significantly in the last couple of years. So we're in good shape, but we can always keep expanding. So the UP program is at Western. It is in Kelley, North Carolina, which is about 45 to 60 minutes from Asheville, depending on traffic. It is located in a very rural regional university. And so a lot of these programs, if you're shopping around, you might see that some of them are 4-year, some of them are 2-year. We are a 2-year program located at a 4-year university. A lot of reason for that. Right now, I'm not seeing a difference in data between the 2- and 4-year program lengths. And so we're finding that this is more cost efficient, as well as getting the classes they need to be able to have really good outcomes. We have a 90% employment rate right now for competitive integrated employment, compared to about 16% of the national average. And we also have 55% of our students living away from their families or differently than when they came into college, compared to about 15% of the national average for students with intellectual disability. So our data is still proving some good points to say that the length of the college program might be part of it, but also looking at the quality of the program. So as you shop around, I think it's important with accreditation on the horizon right now, looking at these programs, being able to look at the quality of the programs. We first started our program in 2007. I was a student at Western at the time, getting my master's degree. We were talking about programs and services for students with disability after high school. And our class got a little bit frustrated because there wasn't much out there in 2007. Think College and the reauthorization of the Higher Education Opportunity Act came about in 2008, and there wasn't much going on. And so I raised my hand in that class and asked my teacher at the time, I said, so what are we doing about inclusion? And what are we doing at Western? And he was a good teacher, and he co-founded the program with me, Dr. David Wessling. And he has since retired, but he said, you know what? You guys are all going to have a homework assignment. I want you to all go and figure out what to do and how you would design this program. And so we did. We brought back our homework assignment. The whole class hated me. And we were able to bring it back, and we were able to kind of talk about some of the pillars of our program. So we want self-determination, so our students are in the driver's seat of their goals and what they want. We do work with families, but again, the student voice is very important. We also want to make sure that they are leading to competitive integrated employment when they finish the program, and living looks differently when they leave the program than when they came in. So it might be a tiny home on the property, it might be something a little different, but that's not going to look the same as what it looked like when they before they came to college, if possible. So we're looking at a lot of those goals. We started small and we increased our number, so we currently have 12 students in the program. That is proportional to 12,000 students, so we're representing the 0.1% of the student population at Western. In May 2023, we became the first accredited program in the country. That's a pretty big deal because that was pretty rigorous. And they looked at the quality of our program and against 10 standards, and we had to provide 38 evidences for 3 to 5 years to kind of talk about what we were doing and if that was good or not with our peer reviewers who came for a site visit in the spring semester. And then they determined through the Higher Education Accreditation Council if we were going to be an accredited program. So we are an accredited program for the next 7 years, and they'll cycle that back around. But we're one of the 5 pilot programs, and we're in the last pilot program right now for those 5 programs across the country. So we were able to inform that process and kind of look at how that would work. As far as admission requirements, we get a lot of conversation around this and questions. So a lot of people say, well, you get a lot of applicants. The first thing I can say is always apply, because some years we have a lot more applicants than others, and you really never know. We have an admissions steering committee, and they're looking at specific things, but you never know what the applicant pool looks like. So I would encourage everybody to apply. We can also be in touch and provide you feedback if there's certain things that could help your application the following year if it's not in selection that year. But these are our admission requirements. We're looking at a certain age range so you can live in the dorms. We're looking at documented intellectual disability based on accreditation standards, as well as funding for FAFSA and that being a CTP. So we do have to have that requirement. We do want you to meet, if you don't meet general admission requirements, then this would be a program. If you can meet general admission requirements, we want you to do that with some accommodations through our Office of Accessibility Resources. Another big thing is making sure that the student is the one motivated to go to college and not something that the parent is wanting fully. Because what happens that first semester is we find that if that's the case, a lot of times that first semester can be very difficult when the student is not the one motivated to be there. So full support from families to engage in the program, to let grow, not necessarily let go, but making sure that we let them grow and know that there are risks and consequences within a college campus. Also being able to communicate wants and needs. That doesn't mean they have to be verbal to communicate those wants and needs. We've had students who are not as verbal as others to be able to still communicate their needs and wants. Also making sure that we are not responsible for the medication, so they need to be able to medicate if they take regular medications and be unsupervised at night, and that we're working towards that goal of competitive integrated employment, and that we can sit in college classes and partake in those because all of our students are within regular college classes. A lot of people ask about the admission timeline, so I want to make sure you have that. Right now, we're looking at 2 open houses in the fall on a Saturday, 2 in the spring. They just released those yesterday, so I wasn't able to squeeze those in here, but if you go to openhouse.wcu.edu, there is the listed dates. We will be at all 4 of those open houses. Our December 1st deadline for 2026, fall 2026, will be December 1st of 2025. And then we go through this process where we review all the applicants with our steering committee, and then we invite the next phase of admissions is our orientation camp. It's a 3 to 4 day experience where you come try on college and see if it's the right fit for you. Then in April, after that camp experience, we make final decisions, invite you to our campus in August, get all the paper shuffling and all of the requirements done, and then moving in just like everybody else in August each semester. So that's our admissions timeline each year. Once you get in the program, we have 5 areas that we focus on. Academic access or course auditing, so our students do audit the classes. We pick that from the course catalog and what you want to do after the program in 2 years. So we kind of plan backwards with that based on your course mapping and what you want to do while you're in college to prepare for that outcome when you finish. We also focus on personal development. That can be anything from cooking, hygiene, self-determination, driving, driver's ed, getting your learner's permit, lots of those things. Community participation is another area we focus on. So looking at public transit, volunteering, giving back to the community, learning. We have scavenger hunts in the surrounding community. It's kind of fun. So lots of different things to explore your community. The fourth area is vocational preparation, so job skills. We do ask that you work 10 hours on or off campus, typically in paid employment, which is kind of nice. So our students do get paid minimum wage or above, typically in every job that we've had so far. There's a few, like at a daycare and a few other places, where you might get your foot in the door the first semester, but then we change the job the next semester unless they offer more task for you or they can pay you for that experience. So typically you're going to do an internship if you need to, but then you're going to get paid the next semester if it's one of those try-on experiences. Social participation and learning is our last area. That's really having fun like all college students. So we use a website called Engage, just like all WCU students. And with Engage, you choose what campus clubs you want to be in. We have some students in the Lightsaber Club. We have some in the Jiu-Jitsu Club. We have students who served as senators on our Student Government Association. So it all depends on kind of what you're interested in for college. Once you finish, or once you're working in those 5 areas, you complete 1,800 hours, which is about 450 hours per semester. So you're not going to be able to just come sit in your room, because you can do that at home. You're not going to be able to just come play video games, because you can do that at home. And so we're really looking at that you're out and about in your community and you're learning a lot of things towards your individual plan for college participation. Now that's not an IEP, so don't get too shaky about that. That's actually going to be goals that you set and you write for yourselves, and we review those every month as part of your person-centered planning meetings. Those meetings are led by the student. Parents are welcome to attend if the student approves, and you're able to kind of see where they are with goals, needing support, not needing support, fading support. So we start out pretty strong with our support of students helping you through your routine. And then as you show certain independence, we're able to fade that support because you don't need it as much in certain areas. Once you finish your hour requirement as well as your goals at 80%, you're able to be recommended to our Office of Educational Outreach for your certificate of accomplishment for completing those requirements. So really, our students do everything everybody else does on a college campus. That's everything. So sometimes you might be getting into things that all college students get into, whether it be intramural sports, Greek life, or learning consequences sometimes of behavior. We will be a safety net, but there will be times when you might kind of need to learn some things, just like all college students moving away from home. So our students, we have done some study abroad trips. We go to conferences. So it's pretty unique in that we get to participate in everything. We just finished graduation this past Saturday, so that was a huge event, a lot of fun. So check us out online. I do want to make sure we do have a few minutes for questions. Our website is up.wcu.edu. We have a YouTube channel that has amazing things on it if you're trying to really see what our program looks like. If you're shopping around for a lot of programs, I would definitely say social media, looking at that, seeing if students are doing their thing on a college campus. I joke around a lot of times to try to say, check their Fitbits and see if they're taking all kinds of steps, because they're all over the campus. So some programs you'll find have more steps than others. And so you might see that you want a good fit for actually going to all college classes. Some you may want to see and shop around and see if you want those where maybe you're in one room most of the day. So it's really up to you. But uniquely, our program looks at a lot of individualization, person-centered planning, classes that you're taking. This picture right here of our last graduating class took us forever to get because they're not all in one place all at one time. And so once a week, maybe an hour for study hall is about the only time you're really with the other students in the program. So check us out on Facebook, Instagram, our website, our YouTube channel, and then I want to make sure I open it up for some questions.
Thank you, Kelly. We do have one question, and I welcome anyone else that has a question to please put it in the chat. The first question, I saw that IQ of 70 or below was required. Is there an issue with the student having a diploma? A few years ago, some of the university info said that the student could not have a diploma. Our OCS students earn a diploma, but could have an IQ of 70 or below.
So we have students who do have OCS diplomas, also regular diplomas. Again, I would say contact us. We really do try to help look at psychological reports if we can before applications if we need to, because it is a process. And so we want to make sure we would kind of be able to look at that hopefully and be able to guide you in that direction. I will put our Gmail as well into the chat so you have that. So you can send us those kinds of things if you have those questions. But it is kind of a case by case. We do look at psychological reports and say, could you go on with your regular diploma with these kinds of things, and what are the options in our state so that we can help you guide you to the right fit if there is potential for regular diploma, that you go on and get your college degree. So we want that to happen if we can. A lot of our students too, who have been in occupational course of study are great with their work experience previously. So document that during the admission process or what they've been doing, because that helps our admission steering committee. If they have any kind of portfolio or things like that, it's really good to be able to put that in with your admission materials to help our committee really see what your work experiences are to kind of set you apart from others. And it looks like Yolanda also has a question, students from Tennessee. We have had students, I'll share a quick story. We had a student from Michigan who now has his own business. It's called Matthew's Bonfire Barbecue. He designed his own logos. He took Facebook marketing. He took entrepreneurship. He took business classes with us. He also had an internship at Haywood Smokehouse, which is barbecue. And so he had a lot of different experiences with his work, and we knew that's what he wanted to do. So now he has his own business up in Michigan. When he had his launch party for his business, we went 10 hours up there to see him, so that he could kick off his business. So yes, we have out of state 10 hours away. We had one in Colorado. We've had some in Tennessee. In fact, we have a couple from Tennessee in this next round. So yes, out of state is accepted as well. And again, that's that $2,500 cap for out of state for the North Carolina NC Promise. Even though they're out of state, it's $2,500 for out of state as well for tuition. Now that doesn't include the fees, but again, tuition is capped at a certain amount as well as in-state tuition at $500. Age bracket 17 to 25. With COVID, we have been able to convince a couple of years, these last few years, to be able to have 26, 27, a little bit over the age range, just because of that 2-year kind of block for people to be able to get transition age. And so we can kind of look at that a little bit more flexible for the next year or so, I think, because we've had students who didn't get that opportunity because of COVID. And so 27, 28 is what we've been able to kind of squeeze in there a few times the last few years. And again, the good part is I don't make these decisions, thank goodness, because that would be really hard. Our admissions steering committee is made up of about 30 to 40 people within the WCU university. So our director of financial aid, our director of admissions, our director of residential living, our registrar. So it's not just me, it's faculty who have had our students in their classes, employers who've had our students on the job sites. So it's all kind of not my say. Everybody thinks it is, but luckily there's a team and a steering committee that does that. How do I apply for your department? That's a tricky question. I don't know if you mean as a faculty, as a or just as an applicant. If you can expand on that a little bit. Yeah, so faculty, if you go to jobs.wcu.edu, I'll put that in the chat, and you can search positions there. As of right now, I have been very blessed and fortunate. We have a small and mighty team. Our funding streams are a little bit different than most programs. We're not grant funded at the moment, so our university's come alongside and given us some support, which has been great. And so right now I don't have a position specific to our department and our program, but there are amazing positions there. We were Forbes' third best employer in the whole country. So I will say Western's a good place to work. I can call people up. They know you by name. And so it's a good community. So there's the website for jobs within our whole university.
Great. While we are waiting to see if there's any other questions, I am going to launch our poll. The grants that we work on require that we report back to them that what we're doing is useful, relevant, and of high quality. So if you can just quickly answer these questions for us, it would be greatly appreciated. And we do still have a little bit more time if there's any other questions. We will be providing the Dr. Kelley's slides to everyone, so you will have those resources. There is one question in the Q&A. Do you provide additional tuition assistance?
So we do. I didn't get to talk about that, but we partner with vocational rehabilitation, now called EIPD. So if you qualify that way, that's great. If you're an in-state student and you get UNC system tuition based on the FAFSA, there is a UNC system scholarship that only 3 of our universities are eligible for right now as a CTP. So there is ways to offset that. There are outside scholarships specific to disabilities such as Ruby's Rainbow, or a couple more specific to autism and Down syndrome. So we do send you a list of those as well. So there is a way to supplement that cost. There is some need-based scholarships that also apply to our students as well. So there are ways to kind of help with that.
Great. I know I recently learned of the North Carolina Promise, and that is an amazing, amazing opportunity that you're able to offer. It's great. Are there any other questions? I do want to mention our Tool Time Tuesday for next week. We will be having ECAC's lead parent educator, Doreen Bird, with us. She'll be talking about the end of the school year, which is rapidly approaching, and will provide some end of the year tips from all of our ECAC parent educators. So definitely join us for that. I do see another question. Or was that just a comment?
Yeah, I think it's a comment, but that's really
Okay.
awesome. Yeah. We've had a lot get their license during our program too. We have a golf
Very cool.
cart as well. So trying to teach them the skills, get those tests out of the way, but also practice. So that's awesome. They're driving.
Great. Well, thank you, Kelley, so much for all this amazing information. Again, we will send the information out to everybody. So if you have any questions, you can directly contact Kelley and check out their resources online that she mentioned.
And
So I hope.
I'm going to drop my email in the chat so you have it, just the direct email. So there you go.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kelley, and thank you everyone for joining us today. And we hope to see those that joined us next week. Have a great Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.